Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday Night Live. So, today we're going to be talking about why your changes in habits won't stick. We've all been there where, like we heard, you've got to do the affirmations, you've got to do the breath work, you've got to meditate every day, you have to eat healthier, you have to go to the gym more consistently, you have to do this, this, and this. But why is it that we implement these new habits into our life and we are not able to stick to them? And this is going to be not only tonight's topic, but this month's event for the Substack for my membership platform. But we're going to give a whole bunch of resources today. So even if you're not a member, even if you are a member, but not a paying member, we have a lot of resources for you today and a lot of things to do. However, on Sunday, we are going to be going over this in a class form, more in depth, and then we're going to do our 30-minute subconscious reprogramming hypnosis, which is based on Marissa Peer's RTT method of hypnosis. But I have quite a few resources for tonight. And okay, so let's talk about why, when you set yourself up for success with new habits, it is so hard to keep these habits going or even removing a habit. Maybe it's smoking, maybe it's drinking, maybe it's sugar, maybe it's, um, spending too much money. But then we end up back where we are. And this is because the self image. We cannot manifest beyond what we think we are. We cannot create beyond what we think we are. And so in last month's class, we did subconscious reprogramming. So we did subconscious thoughts that are holding us back. So we identified some of these thoughts. We understood what is the reason for these? What part of me is holding on to these thoughts? Now we're building upon that this week, and we're going to be doing why or what is the new self image that I need to create? So, this is inspired by the work of Dr. Maxwell Maltz. And to give you a little bit of information on who that is. So, Dr. Maxwell Maltz was the world's first plastic surgeon. Sounds crazy, right? Oh, hi. Thanks, Stacy. So, the world's first plastic surgeon became a subconscious master. And that's because he was one of the first people to do cosmetic procedures, and he realized that his clients would say, "Oh, if I just had a different nose, if I had different face, if I had this or that." I don't think that they, obviously at that time they didn't have all the advanced procedures that we do now as far as cosmetic procedures. A lot of his work initially was based on medically needed cosmetic features. So either someone was in an accident and had a scar or a disfigurement, or someone, say, is born with something like a cleft chin. I mean, cleft lip. The cleft chin is quite an attractive feature, if I say so myself. But so people being born with those things, he would perform surgeries on them and then realize nothing had changed. So the person looked differently, but then they would look in the mirror and still not find themselves attractive or still feel like they were not good enough, even though they said, and this is where the whole plastic surgery thing doesn't work, right? Everybody can do whatever they want, but this kind of, and I know, sometimes I'm a little harsh, but, anyone can do what they want. But this whole thing of, well, if it's going to make you happy, it never does. It never has, and it never will. I'm so sorry. It doesn't. It doesn't make anybody happy. I live in LA for the last 14 years. Let me tell you, plastic surgery does not make anybody happy. In fact, it makes them continue to have a void that still needs to be filled. And right now, it's way different than when Maxwell Maltz was doing this work. Now the whole world is doing it and it's a normal thing. And actually, living in LA, it's, rare to not have any type of procedures done. So now it's almost like people are like, okay, I'll feel better. I'll feel better. But it never really does make the person feel better because there's a root cause behind it. And it really is the self image. So if the person feels unattractive, they can change something. But if they don't change their internal self image, then the outward self image cannot change. So you said you just want nicer teeth so you can smile without being self conscious. Well, I think the best thing to do is to work with what you've got. Because what happens is a lot of times people will do that. They'll get new teeth, they'll get veneers, and then they're still self-conscious. Like, say I had a friend who got breast implants. She thought it was going to make her more confident in clothes. And actually, every time she went out, she was always covering them because she was actually really uncomfortable with having them and people thinking that she had them or knowing or being able to tell. So, like, the self consciousness was the thing that is like still there, even though the thing that she was self conscious about has now been changed and fixed. You said, I think teeth might be the only exception. You said only if you're insecure. Well, isn't that the root of the plastic surgery, right? Insecurity. And it's not going to cure insecurity. Um, Teeth, I mean, honestly, you look at some happy people and they have very charming smiles, charming and unique smiles. So it's true, you've lost weight and still feel 250 pounds. Inside hasn't caught up with the outside. Oh, Christine. So we're going to talk about a lot of this stuff today. It's just rough to go on a job interview and smile at the boss with no teeth. Right. And of course, there could always be exceptions to any of these things. However, in the general rule, and, living in LA, where this is common, this is normal, like you're actually weird to not have anything done, and you're constantly faced with it every day. Yeah, you said, I think growing up with social media makes me compare myself to literal beautiful people. And those people aren't even literal beautiful people. They mostly transformed themselves to look that way. So we're constantly being faced with it's almost addictive. It's extremely addictive. It's extremely addictive because the thing that it was supposed to heal isn't healed. Now, what's interesting is that Maxwell Maltz discovered this like 50 years ago as the world's first plastic surgeon. He did it and he said, by the way, guys, this shit doesn't work. You have to work on the inside, and no amount of procedure, surgery, anything will ever make you feel differently. However, the industry is still what it is today and still constantly growing. So, okay, so last year I made a worksheet using Dr. Maxwell Maltz's 10 steps to do every day to rewire your self image. So, thankfully, he did a whole bunch of stuff like Maxwell Maltz's work. So, if you want to look into it, let me pull it up on the screen. Check out Psycho-Cybernetics. The audiobook is great. It's very dated, but the information is timeless. So, like, they'll talk about cassette tapes and stuff like that in the thing. Let's see, where is it? Here we go. Putting this up on the screen. So, you guys watching over here on YouTube or you guys watching on TikTok, look up Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz, full audiobook. And, I have it on Audible, but it's available for free on YouTube. It's excellent. It really goes through all the steps. It explains all of his um, experiments that he did. Like, one of the experiments that he did in this book was actually, he was the inspiration for Joe Dispenza. He was the inspiration for the Silva method. He was so early. He's the one who created these like mental movies and theater of the mind and using visualization to recreate your reality and to reprogram yourself. All the entirety of manifestation, personal development, this is the godfather of it. Will this be live on your YouTube? You wanna watch it later? Yes, it will be. And also, you probably don't hear it on this mic, but definitely TikTok hears my upstairs neighbor, like, doing some type of hit workout or something. So, but one of the experiments that he does in this book, and I'm sure you guys have all heard it by now because everybody like, Joe Dispenza and all of these people have referred to it over these years. But he was the one who did this experiment that they took two basketball teams, and one of the teams practiced as normal, and one of the teams were coached through visual practicing. So they didn't touch a ball, they didn't go on the court. Through visualization, they were guided through winning the game. And the teams that had been guided through visually did better on the court than the people who physically went on the court. So Dr. Maxwell Maltz was the pioneer of this concept that your mind does not know the difference between a real experience or an imagined experience. Your mind doesn't know the difference between a real memory and a visualization. It doesn't care if it's real or not. Your emotions care if it's real. Your ego cares if it's real, but your brain does not give a shit if it is real. So I highly suggest going through that book. But as you know, I'm always trying to make things easier for you guys. Let's remove this. Because I made a worksheet. So after I get off of this live, let me pull it up. I am going to send out a Substack email. So if you're on my Substack list, I'm going to send out this with the recording of the live and with the information about the class. But in the meantime, let's go through some of this. So you could write this down in a notebook and do it yourself, or you could just download it from my Substack. I'm going to send it out tonight after this live. So then you can just print out this worksheet and we can do a 7-day challenge at your own leisure. If you want to start tomorrow, start tomorrow. You want to start on Monday next week, do that. Okay, so the 7-day self-image boost, transform yourself. So this worksheet is using Dr. Maxwell Maltz's 10 things that he says you should do every single day to rewire your self-image. So if you're some of the people that are feeling like, and not to say you can't do these things, if you want to do something to yourself, do something to yourself, right? You want to do some type of procedure, do some type of procedure. But be honest, what is the root cause of it, right? Right? Like, what is the root cause of you wanting to do it? At least be honest, right? Okay. So here is the 10 things, and I have 7 little bubbles, so you can do a 1-week challenge. And then if you want to keep doing it, print it out the next week, print it out the next week, do it for a whole month. But I like to do these worksheets pretty simple because I'm someone who will do like a 30-day habit tracker for myself. And then I'll get 10 days in and not complete it. And this is actually the topic of this. So let's talk about these. Okay. So the first one, let me make sure it's properly on the screen. Okay, good. You guys can see it? Let me make it bigger. Well, too big. Okay. All right. So these are the things that, okay. So first, you want to visualize success. Okay. So you want to see yourself, imagine yourself winning scenarios and achieving a goal. Now, why does this matter? Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between real or imagined experiences, vividly imagined. Okay. Your ego knows, your awareness knows, but the brain itself is going to wire for it. And the biggest example that we have of this is if I was to tell you, okay, imagine right now that you're holding a lemon, smell the lemon. Now we're going to cut the lemon Open it up. It's nice and juicy and sour. And now I want you to take a bite into that sour lemon. And if you just imagine biting into a sour lemon, your mouth will begin to salivate. And that's because your brain is going to react to imagined experiences. I saw this video. Okay, hold on. We'll come back to that in 1 second. I saw this video that was okay. There's like these, you guys have seen these like TikTok and Instagram churches that they like perform exorcisms, and they're so like I can't look away. When I'm scrolling through social media and I see somebody performing an exorcism in one of these like performative churches, I cannot look away. I must watch. And so I was watching those one night and I went down like I couldn't stop watching them. But then that same church started popping up on my algorithm. And it was like a purple-haired priest, woman, pastor, lady. And it was so funny, this clip from her sermon. And she was on point in what she was saying. I don't think she was saying it as a flex. I think she was saying it as something demonic, but she was so on point in what she said. And she was like, masturbators are the best manifestors because they're imagining an experience and having a real physical reaction to it. And I said, you know what? That lady's onto something. I never thought about that. So if you're someone who's ever done that and gotten results, then you can trust yourself to be able to freaking visualize some success for yourself. Okay. Okay. So back to the worksheet. Where are we? Okay. No, I like this one better. Oh, no, not that one. This one. Okay, fine. Okay. So let me look at this again. Okay. So let's give an example of visualizing success. So let's say you're someone who wants to start posting videos online, but you're afraid. You don't know if people are going to judge you. You don't know if you have anything good to say. You feel imposter syndrome. What if people that know me from high school? What if my family? What if my ex sees? What if it's cringe? What if it's embarrassing? Forget it. If you are going to do this self-image rewiring, for 7 days, you can just spend 2 minutes feeling, seeing, imagining what it feels like and what it would look like to make the video. So see yourself holding this phone, see yourself with the ring light, see yourself hitting post, see yourself getting likes on it, and visualize your success. So, a quote from Dr. Maxwell Maltz from Psychocybernetics is, we act or we fail to act, not because of our will, but because of the image that we hold of ourselves. So that's really what this comes down to. When someone wants to post online and decides not to, it's because the image that they have of themselves. And like another example from LA, I have so many talented friends that are actors. Like classically trained by the best, but a lot of them are uncomfortable posting on social media because they've put all of this work into perfecting their craft and doing important roles. And then they're so good, so talented, they would do so well online, but then they don't want to post themselves online because the image that they have of themselves is, I'm a real actor. People on social media are just influencers. I didn't spend all this time perfecting my craft for me to just, be like an influencer. This is the self-image versus I'm a performer. I have a gift to share. And any audience that is going to receive my gift is available to me. Okay. Next, the second one you have to do, visualize skills. See yourself practicing or improving specific actions. So we'll use that same example. If you're someone that wants to start posting online, sharing your gifts, sharing your work, sharing your art, sharing your music, whatever it is, doing healing work, see yourself practicing that skill. So see yourself practicing online. See yourself maybe doing a video, looking at it, and then doing it again, and see yourself doing it again. If, let's say, you want to work out more, let's say that's one of the things you want to improve in your self image. Now, Wayne Dyer had a great example of this in his books, where Wayne Dyer said that if you want to start running, but you know that once you get out there, you're not gonna be able to. Like, you could dream of running, but once you get out there, you're gonna go half a block, and it's gonna feel like your heart's exploding out of your chest. Yes, with Dr. Maxwell Maltz says, "Visualize yourself doing the skill." Wayne Dyer said, and this was, whatever, Wayne Dyer was the end of the '80s and the '90s, right? He said, get a photo of a runner from a magazine and stick a picture of your head on the runner and then put it up on your wall so that you see yourself as a runner. So you can visualize your skills inside of your mind, but also, if you want, stick your head on something. You want to get on Joe Rogan? I don't know, take a screenshot of Joe Rogan's podcast and stick your head over the guest. Because the brain learns by simulation, just like this is a simulation for God to learn, right? So repeating the motion mentally improves the real performance. It's used by athletes, it's used by all of these people. This is the example that I gave in um, the beginning of Dr. Maxwell Maltz's work. So another thing is, like, say, for example, that you get nervous, like speaking up for yourself. Let's say your food order came out wrong and you're someone who's going to eat something that you don't want to eat because you don't want to send it back or be a nuisance or something like that. So see that happening. If that's something that you want to work on, see yourself in the restaurant, the order comes out wrong, and you just say very politely, "Excuse me, this is actually not what I ordered." And see them taking it back. Okay, positive affirmations. Obvious, we all know this. You guys can use ChatGPT to come up with some clever affirmations for yourself, for your specific scenario. I am works the best. But if you're trying to change habits, maybe it's something like, I am someone who follows through. I am becoming more confident every day. I am safe being seen. Now, of course, affirmations are more effective when they're attached to emotion and action, right? So if it's an affirmation that you can get behind, good. If it's an affirmation that you could actually carry out a small task following it, even better. However, if you're not there yet, just saying it repeatedly will reprogram you to some degree. So if it's something that you don't truly feel yet, you're combining it with the visual, you're combining it with the visualization of success and the skills, and then the affirmations. So you're already starting to rewire it. Okay. Review your goals. So you can stay focused by checking in on your goals. Now, this is something that's really important, right? Because when your goals are not visual or visible to you, we can default to autopilot, and that's what mostly happens. So this is usually why we're not completing our tasks in the way that we need to be. I'm going to put myself as the screen because you guys are going to get the thing on the Substack. Okay. Because I don't like being so small. I'm sorry. Let me look at some of the comments here and then we'll continue on because I was reading off of my notes. Good evening, Jen. It's easy to say when you're stunningly beautiful on the outside. Oh, thank you. Um, you had to decide to accept your smile in all its crooked glory as a young person because you couldn't hold your smiles back. Oh, that's beautiful, Meg. This is the thing, right? Like, we're all meant to look different. And right now, I know this is going back to earlier in the live, but I'm just looking at the comments now. We're all meant to look different. If we were all meant to look the same, the way that everybody's getting the same fillers and the same this and the same that, like, that is losing ourselves. That's losing our identity. Mhm. Recognizing the most unhealthy habits and programmings is rooted in trauma. Gotta see that to be aware and process and release that. Then you've got to reprogram. Mhm. We do not have the same algorithm. You don't see the exorcism church videos? Visualization like that is such a good idea. The brain learns by simulation. Yeah. About making a 2-minute video, just one thing different, something the new oh, you're about to make a video. Something that the new version of you would do. For instance, you wanna be more neat and organized because the new you doesn't leave dishes in the sink. It's not a huge thing, but it just shifts the energy a little. Yes, exactly. So these are like the little things. Okay, so then, I mean, as you guys may have noticed, I'm not wearing black tonight. And this is a perfect example of stepping into the new you in a way in the physical too. So, as you guys know, I've been wearing black for the last several years, all black clothing. And part of that was because I just had too much stuff going on. I literally could not make another decision. I was in like decision paralysis. So, after like my first year on TikTok, I was just overwhelmed and trying to like figure out like how do I get all of this done? How do I start building other things? How do I start like doing more purposeful work? How do I start building a YouTube and this and that? So, I was just like completely overwhelmed and I decided like one thing that I could take off of off of my plate was clothes. Especially for me because I like to dress nice, I like to look good. And so I was like, okay, I'm throwing out all of my clothes or like 90% of my clothes and then I'm getting all black everything. Everything will go with everything. The type of stuff can go to a casual thing, can go to a dressy thing. It can go to an event, it can go to lunch. I just wanted like something that was simple, that was me. And, so I would wear all black, had my like couple of I literally the black shirts that you guys see me wearing, the short sleeve one, I have like 6 of them. The long sleeve one, I have like 4. I have like 10 of the same black pants. I have 3 of the same black leather pants. Like, I had like, Doug the cartoon, when he, like, opens his closet, that was my clothing rack. And so, now I'm stepping into a new stage of life, and part of the reason, not only because doing this course myself and, trying to lead by example in some way of like actually implementing the things that I'm talking about in this soul architecture 10-month program that we're doing on Substack. But on top of that, I asked ChatGPT, what is my greatest fears that is holding me back? And number one on the list that ChatGPT called me out on was I am afraid of outgrowing my identity. And it's true. I didn't realize that, because this has worked for me. The wearing all black has worked for me. It's part of the JK Ultra image when I'm out at these events and these things. And it's like everybody is like dressed in their like white garb and dressed like Mary Magdalene and wearing, like flowy nightgown type of stuff. And I'm there in my black leather pants and my combat boots. So yeah, it was something that I was like, "You know what, actually, I am too afraid to step out of my identity at this point." Usually, I would reinvent myself a lot when I was younger because things weren't working for me. But then once things started working for me, then I became comfortable in this, and then it's like now it's like I wanna hold on to it, my precious. And so when ChatGPT called me out like that, I'm not gonna just, not take it. I was like, "Okay." And then as you guys know, if you follow me on Instagram, I've been talking about the color season. So they say like every person has an ideal color, group of colors that they should be wearing that complements them more than other colors. So everything kept saying that I'm autumn, soft autumn, and these are like, the autumn colors. So I made the decision and I went hard as hell and I literally bought like 40 shirts in those colors and like I went overboard. But I'm like, okay, now all my stuff goes together, all of it matches. It will still be easy for me because I don't want to make it difficult for me to have these different, to make it harder to pick clothes. It is harder to pick clothes when they're not all black. But I'm like, okay, I'm getting everything that matches, everything that goes together. So it's still easily interchangeable, but it's going to be stepping into a new version of myself. You said, you've been a stay at home mom for years. You don't have an identity or know who you are. Well, but you just said that you're a stay at home mom. So the stay at home mom is your identity right now. But what about, let's go a couple steps beyond that, right? Obviously, if you're here, you are spiritual, right? You're obviously a knowledge seeker if you are, coming and watching something like this. So maybe if you go a step beyond, and it's great to be a stay-at-home mom. If that's what you're happy doing, then just add upon that. Add to the self-image. So what are the other things? And it doesn't have to be a title for the world. It can be I'm productive. I'm neat. I am happy. I am a bright person. I'm someone that easily makes friends, or I'm someone that enjoys my own company, or I'm a good cook, or I'm a good singer, or I'm a good dancer. And it doesn't mean you need to be a professional singer or dancer. It means that you are allowing yourself to enjoy and do these things. So I think that's also the stuff that happens with like an identity. Not everybody is like me with a fucking alias name and it on a neon sign, you know? It doesn't have to be that extreme of an identity. And the JK Ultra is one fragment, and then me as Jen is the other. And then it's funny, people will call me like JK, but a lot of times people who know me for a long time will call me JC because I was Jennifer Carmody first. So it's like you can have multiple aspects of your identity, but also like your qualities. Your qualities are who you are. So, like, let's say you're a positive person. That could be your self identity. I am a positive person. Revamping your identity too, but you're a Scorpio, so it's no big deal. Yeah, I'm a Scorpio rising, so I go through my transformation. And yes, Pluto in the first house for me. So I am constantly going through my transformations, but, this is the first time it's really worked really well for me. You've been buying new colorful clothes too, pinks and blues, not realizing until now those are your color season. Glad to know about the trends now. Yeah. ChatGPT knows too much about you. You're brave for asking him that. Oh, Shauna, you should ask him. You should ask him. Because it's good to know, especially if you're someone that uses ChatGPT a lot, it really helped me. One of the other things that it said that I was afraid of is, afraid of, like, stepping into the full responsibility in a way, that it was saying kind of like, I'm almost afraid to fully step into the responsibility of being a teacher, a guide, but I'm already doing it. So, like, but it was saying it in the way that, like, I'm afraid of guiding people in the wrong direction or giving the wrong information. And it's like, but you're already giving people information and you're already guiding people and you're already in that responsibility. So why hold back? Oh, okay. You said you always go back to smoking. So, oh, Jesus. Okay. You always go back to smoking. I'm assuming weed, but maybe cigarettes, right? Oh god, I'm gonna get the violation for saying something on TikTok. Let's wait for it. But I did a video on this last year. So if you go to JK Ultra Quit Smoking Weed on YouTube, I have a whole breakdown of all of those things because I smoked every day for 23 years, and that was a big part of my identity. I was a pothead, okay? I know I'm like, "Oh, TikTok's gonna give me the violation." Let me double down and say all the other words too. Um, but that was a huge part of my identity. Like, the person who needs to smoke before something, needs to smoke after something, needs to go for a walk, needs to find the other people and go outside and smoke with them. So, like, those things are part of the identity. And, I had to really go to the root cause. And you should watch the video on that because I did a lot of research about specifically that type of addiction because I didn't really see it as the thing is with because it's the least debilitating of any type of addiction, it's actually hard to see how it negatively impacts you. And when I was going through that process of deciding to quit and coming online and holding myself accountable, which now it's coming up on almost a year since then. So that video is about a year old. But the biggest thing that I became aware of at that time is if you do not know how something is an addiction, a substance is negatively impacting you, then that is really bad. That means it's actually so bad that you can't see yourself without it. You don't know who you are really without it. So if you can't identify how something is negatively impacting you, which I could not at the time, uh, th- you said you quit drinking every day, but it was a big part of removing drinker, partier from your identity. Addiction is hard. It was for you too. Yeah. And the thing with smoking weed is that, it seems to be a beneficial addiction. It's not like other types that have very direct negative effects, you know? But I did realize that actually smoking removes you from a lot of experiences. Like, even though it feels like you're enjoying it more or having more fun, you're actually less present and you're actually making things harder. But go and watch that video because I have a whole breakdown on it and it was very eye opening to me. Also, side note, somebody sent me this bracelet that I'm wearing right now. Actually, it's not doing the bracelet any justice. The bracelet is super beautiful. Oh, it looks really nice on TikTok. It looks stunning on TikTok. It looks all washed out on here. Yeah. Somebody sent me this bracelet and it said your fairy godmother as the return address. So if you are my fairy godmother, please let me know. Because thank you. It's super beautiful. You used to gaslight your stuff with like, oh, it's natural, it's from the earth, it's spiritual. Exactly. No, exactly. People that's like the number one thing with addiction is self-gaslighting. Like 100%. Like everybody is doing it with every addiction of like, "Oh, it helps me. It helps me to be more myself." No, that's not true. That's never true. Okay, let's go back to this Maxwell Maltz worksheet because it's never true. No substance will make you more yourself. Now, plant medicines, things like that can help heal certain things that have been keeping you from yourself, but you do them in an isolated experience and it's not consistent. You don't do it regularly. If you're doing it regularly, you're doing it wrong, So plant medicines can help you to maybe remove a armor or to release a trauma which has been keeping you from your real self, but there is no substance that makes you your real self. Okay. Let's come back to this. Where were we? Okay, right. So review your goals, check your targets, stay motivated, stay focused. So let's say you want to work on, some project. Let's say you want to start making more money. Well, then you need to be looking at your money. You need to be looking at your money. You need to be knowing how much you're making, how much you're spending. You need to be looking at your money. Okay. Take action. Any action is signal to the brain, this is who I am now. So we know Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about really simple actions like getting out of the other side of the bed instead of the side you usually get out of. Jim Quick, he talks about brushing your teeth with the opposite hand. These very simple tasks that you can do in the morning, driving to work and taking a different path to work. These are actions to start breaking the norm, to start rewiring your matrix around you. However, for this sheet, ideally, we want you to take actions that are related to the new you. So your identity is going to change through evidence. So when you're doing something, act as if your future self is doing it. The subconscious mind will rewire. So if you're someone who is a smoker, for example, and you don't smoke before something, let's say, I mean, it is hard to just quit without. And the other thing is, too, when you watch that video, it is about the triggers. And because I was someone who smoked all day long, my couch was a trigger. My coffee was a trigger. My bed was a trigger. Eating was a trigger. Not eating was a trigger. Going somewhere was a trigger. Staying home was a trigger. Watching something was a trigger. Not watching something was a trigger. I needed to identify the triggers. So you said you can't find the video. Let's see what is it called. Let me find it. Because I just retitled a bunch of my videos to optimize the SEO. Let me go to YouTube. JK Ultra weed. Quit. Okay. Okay, so I did change the title to be more YouTube-like. What nobody tells you about quitting weed. And then the thumbnail says, how I quit smoking weed after 23 years. So let me share that in the chat. I have too many windows open. I can't find you guys. Okay, there you are. Why can't I? Okay, I can't find it. Sorry. I can't paste it for some reason. Gabor Mate is a great source. Yeah, he is. He's wonderful. I love him. He's so earnest. Okay. So taking action. So let's say if it is something like quitting a habit or something that you want to change about your identity, then that means you're like, okay, I'm usually someone who smokes before I eat or smokes after I eat. Now I'm going to not do that this one time. So instead of going 100% cold turkey and then relapsing right back, start to address those triggers and say, I want to now, but I'm not going to in this scenario. Okay. And then work your way up because also, it's not heroin. So it's not like, um, you're not gonna die from it. So it's okay if it's something like smoking that you slowly start to do it. Like maybe you start cutting back the amount and you could start weaning yourself off so that you have these little actions towards your goal. Now, what if your goal is a positive goal, right? Your actions. What if it's working out more? Now that means what if you uh start moving your body in the morning? And you're going from no working out, sedentary lifestyle to wanting a physical lifestyle. So what you need to do is, okay, stretch in the morning. Let's say you stretch 3 days out of the week. And then the next week you go for some walks. And then the next week you sign up for the gym. And then you just go to the gym. I mean, I'm the worst. I go to the gym and I only use the steam room. But you know what? It's getting me in the gym. Am I working out? No. Okay, corrective actions. So identify and learn from mistakes. So this is important. So these corrective actions, and if Dr. Maxwell Maltz says if you do these every day, it will rewire who you are. So mistakes are feedback, not failures. So, Dr. Maltz found that people with rigid, perfectionist self image would sabotage themselves rather than adjust. So, instead of I failed at this, you can ask, what can I tweak next time? You become resilient by allowing yourself to make mistakes. Okay. Because if you just react to these mistakes, and that's the thing that's hard, right? Is if we're working on something like this and then you fall off, let's say you're doing intermittent fasting and then you mess up for 3 days. Then you're like, "Oh, well, screw it. I'm just not going to do it then." But if you say, "What can I adjust?" Okay, tomorrow I'll eat later in the day and then start getting back on my fasting. So instead of doing 14 or 16 hours, I'll start with 12 again, or I'll go back to 8 hours or something like that. Okay, I think this is too small now. What is the next one? Speak up. Use clear communication to communicate your needs or ideas. Okay. So, your voice, your words also rewire your nervous system. So, your self image is shaped by expression. When you speak your truth, you affirm your worth, especially in moments where you feel uncomfortable. So, ask for clarification. If somebody says something that you don't understand, say, "What did you mean by that?" Say what you want. Let's say you want to do something and your partner is, leaning towards doing something else. You say, "Hey, I'd really like to do this." Even if it is not successful, it's good to say. Um, you can also, bring up something with friends, say you're talking to friends and they're talking about a topic. Let's say they're talking about something, um, and they assume that you just agree with them. Like something like, let's say people are talking about like a political topic and you're just kind of neutral. You don't really care either way. Not that you don't care about the world, but you're just not into politics in that way. Then say that instead of just nodding. That is another thing that shapes your self-image because it allows you to confidently speak your opinion or just to even if you're not confidently speaking your opinion, just to speak your opinion. Okay, let's bring the chart up again. Relax and recharge. Reset with a relaxation technique. So this is also important. I mean, Dr. Maxwell Maltz is not all work and no play. He says, make sure that you get some R&R. So, confidence can't survive in burnout. A depleted nervous system cannot hold a new self-image. So you need to feel safe, you need to feel comfortable, you need to feel nourished in order to feel confident. So, you're not going to be able to starve yourself and burn yourself out at the gym and work all these hours and truly reshape your self image. That is impossible. You're not going to actually change that way. What you're going to be is, I'm someone who needs to struggle. I'm someone who identifies with struggling. I have to work harder than other people. And that's what you continue to create. So do your rest and relaxation. So whether that's, breath work, a bath, 10 minutes of just alone time, yoga, meditation, a walk, could be a shower. Take a long shower, listen to some music. But don't try to like think of what you have to do next. Like really just say like this is me time. Okay. Let's pull it up again. Okay, celebrate your achievements. Recognize your victories, no matter how small. This is one that I struggle with for sure. Um, I like to just jump to the next thing. So track your wins, big or small. So if you do this for 7 days, you can track a little win for yourself each day. Some days will be big wins, some days will be small wins, and that's okay. Maybe your win is I got the laundry done. Even though I was exhausted, I still cleaned up. I still, like someone said before, they didn't leave dishes in the sink. It can be small wins. It doesn't matter how small. When you acknowledge these things, that's really important. So it also creates the reinforcement. So What gets celebrated gets repeated. You replied to an email. That's something that for some reason stresses me out. Setting a boundary. You took some rest. You journaled. Let it register as a success to yourself. What's the last one? Plan your day. Organize for success with a daily to-do list. I mean, honestly, I need to print this out and stick it everywhere in my apartment. Okay, so plan your day. So structure allows the subconscious mind to say that you're in charge right now. So our subconscious mind can be running the show often. And when you have a structure, it lets the subconscious mind know, like, oh, okay, you're in charge now. So planning links your ideal identity with the ideal behavior, right? So, like this future you that you're creating, you link with your daily tasks now. And then the to-do list allows you to do these other 10 things on the list. It allows you to take the action. It allows you to do the corrective action. It allows you to do these other 10 things that you can do every day. And it trains the brain to expect clarity and to expect success. So even 3 bullet points for the day reclaims your sense of authorship over yourself. Okay, you reflect. So this Sunday, we're going to be doing the class and hypnosis on this. Let me see what else I have for you guys here. There is another worksheet that I put out in the beginning of the month, which, so this Maxwell Maltz one, I'm going to send it out on the Substack after I get off the live. This one, this one, I just have so many things on the screen. Okay. How do I make it bigger? Okay, so this is the one that I've sent out in the beginning of the month to just kind of set the tone of what we're going to be doing in the class. So, your identity is the foundation upon which everything in your life is built. If your self image doesn't match the life that you desire, you keep repeating your old cycles. The self upgrade, redesign who you are, which is the class that we're going to be doing on this Sunday, the 27th, is about reprogramming your subconscious to make your self image align with your highest potential. So, what labels or beliefs about yourself have shaped you and your decisions? Do they align with who you are or who you want to be? So, this is just like a little journaling prompt. The other one is more an actionable one, but this is a journal prompt to consider, like, what do you want to work on in this class? And, the subscribers, you guys have access to the replay. So, on the replay, you can go and work on another one if multiple come up. And then let's talk about this, the integration practice. So spend one day acting as if you are already the most confident, self assured version of yourself. How do people respond differently? So let's say you take one day this week. It could be leading up to the class, it could be after the class. Take one day to act as the person that you want to be. So, does that mean you want to How do you subscribe? Where do you subscribe? So if you go to the link in my bio, it'll say exclusive content for my Substack, or you go to Jennifer Carmody, CARMODY.substack.com. I'm going to send this out to all the subscribers, including the free subscribers, but then the paid subscribers get access to the Substack class. And if you're just joining, just finding out that I've been doing this for over a year. So there's probably 12, 13, 14, 15 replays. So some of the replays for the other classes, we have an inner child healing, an inner teenager healing. We have the Dolores Cannon meet your spirit guide meditation. We have the Dolores Cannon past life and future life meditation. We have ones around procrastination. We have a lot of different classes that have already been done in the past. And so a lot of people on the Substack, let me bring myself up here. A lot of people with the Substack, they say they don't have the time, but it's literally only 2 hours a month. Okay. So a lot of people who you said you're already subscribed. Is there a paid version you should do? Yeah, if you want to come to the classes. So it's $11 a month and it's a Zoom link that gets sent out 2 hours before. We do it on the last Sunday of each month. And then we have that replay, and then you have access to all the replays. So if you go to my Substack page, you'll do hypnosis replays and you can see all of them and do any of them. There's a couple of free ones in there for everybody, but most of them are for the paid subscribers. And we have a future self meditation, a lot of things going on over there. And so the reason that it's different than a lot of my other content is because, the greatest rabbit hole you can go down is yourself, right? You can only look and worry about the Pope dying and the Antichrist and the reptilians and, the Pleiadians and the Arcturians and this ones and that one. You can only worry about all of that stuff so much before you need to face yourself. Thanks, Donna. It's so well worth subscribing. Thanks, Meg. It's so worth subscribing. Thanks, Neil. It's such a good subscription. Keeps you in check, to be honest. Woo! Thanks, guys. Okay, let's come back to the end of this. Your visualization exercise. Imagine stepping into a room where your most empowered self is waiting for you. What do they say to you? So that's what we'll be doing. And then let me show you one last thing. And then I'm going to read some comments that I've been missing because I have so much stuff on my screen. One more thing here. Okay. So this is the structure of the class. So stage 1 is what we did already. So if you are just starting now, go back and do the one for March. So we did a life reset. That one was about identifying the I outdated subconscious programming. And then this one is about the self-image. So it's about first one was identifying those subconscious programs. Now it's about rewiring the self-image. Then May and June, we're going to work on stage 2, which is mastering the mind, the thought patterns, the inner dialogue. June, the manifestation blueprint. So this is really about like aligning your thoughts and your energy with what you want to manifest. Then we have stage 3, which is July, August, September. And that's going to be healing your inner state. So then that's going to be some meditation and hypnosis for energetic stuff, things that are in your field. August, we'll do the body code. This is then cellular healing vortex stuff. That'll be the hypnosis. September, we'll do the Akashic stuff. So that one I'm still deciding how I want to do because you guys know that I do access the records. I've never accessed it in a public way. So I'm thinking about what I want to do about that one. I think it will be a hypnosis that, I access the records and then do the hypnosis while I'm inside the records, but I'm deciding how I'm going to do that class. It'll be cool. And then stage 4 will be October, November, December. This is becoming sovereign, quantum, merging with the future you. And then December, we're going to do a planning for the new year. So you reminded me of Brittany Bento when you said woo. Brief thoughts on EMDR. I think EMDR is great. I've known people who've done it, and every video feels like a reset. Thanks, Bree. Hurry up, September. Yeah, so let me look at some of the comments. Loving this topic tonight. You've made some pivoting choices this week, reflecting your desire to change, including relinquishing watching shows that affirm, oh, yeah, crisis Mo. Oh, MO. Mo. When growing up, people always said if you want to be successful, you can't sleep. You always have to be making your next move. You constantly remind yourself rest is key too. True. Are you visualizing attending all of these prompts every day for a week or picking one? So, doing these of those 7-day reset, you do all 10 of them, but they're very short. Give each one 2 minutes. Give the visualization 2 minutes, give the second visualization 2 minutes. The captchas on TikTok are getting so advanced. That one was so advanced. Um, the take an actionable step, it just has to be one thing. Take a corrective action, it just has to be one small thing. And that's what it is. It's little drops are what lead to eventually the full cup. In a past live stream of yours, you taught about relationship with money. You used to believe only bad and elites had money, so you were sabotaging yourself until you talked about that. Oh, awesome. Yeah. And it still is, like there's different things, and that's one of those. So actually today I recorded a podcast for next week with Mami Onami, and she talks about a lot of these blocks, which was awesome. This Thursday, though, I have a really nice interview coming out with John Jacob Mumbarak, and I know him from Rhythmia. And he was actually, if you guys saw my ayahuasca videos, he was actually the person who, after I did the yahe and I came out of experiencing the oneness, he really grounded me. And I was crying. I was a mess. And he really grounded me and like anchored me back in and like kind of like dusted me off and like said, "Okay, kid, you're good. Like go in the right direction, but in the most loving way." So from that conversation, I was like, "I would love to interview you." But then I'm still just getting to things on the to-do list that happened then, you know? So that's really beautiful, and it's really about authenticity and showing up as your authentic self in a way that is, like, really needed in the spiritual spaces, and those are the people that I've been focusing on having on the podcast is because I really think that this is the new way of spirituality. Like, I genuinely believe that it's like, fuck the titles, fuck the certifications, fuck all that stuff. It's about being authentically yourself, being a human being, not a human doing. And those are the people that I have been bringing on the podcast because I'm like, you know what? This person is so multifaceted. And that's who people need to see. We don't need to see another this, another that. And some of the people will have those titles because, of course, I love some people with those titles. I love a lot of people with those titles. But I've really been looking into, like, calling those people in to talk to because, a lot of times in my hypnosis sessions, that's the type of people that are oftentimes coming to do the hypnosis work or the coaching work with me is people who are multifaceted. These are people who are gifted at this and this and this and this, and they're feeling like they need to narrow themselves down. And it's like, no, be all the things you are. Share all your gifts. Be a healer, be an artist, be a singer, be a dancer, be a speaker, be a business person. Do this, do this. Like, for me, it's like I make, some conspiracy content, some alien content. I do the hypnosis work, I do the personal development stuff, I do the tarot stuff. Like, there's so many things. And then my book that's coming out in May is literally not about any of these topics. And you guys are going to freak out when you see the book because not only does the cover look super cool, it also is very different than anything else that I do. It's a little bit got the vibe of one of my TikTok series in a book form, but the topic is women. And it goes through all, like, everything that created the modern woman. But there's my personal stories in there too, and, like, so some of the personal stories are, funny, and some of them are quite messed up and disturbing and triggering, and some of them are gonna be shocking to you guys because there's things that I've never, like, shared about myself, and so it was interesting, my editor towards the end of the book, so it kinda goes through all of these different stages of life, so there's a lot more of, like, the earth-based material stuff in the beginning, and towards the end of the book, it starts going to kinda higher levels of information, so then it becomes like a mind, body, spirit part of the book where it talks about like the brain, feminine and masculine, right and left brain. Then we talk about the hormones, the feminine and masculine hormones and the way that they affect us. And then it talks about the feminine and masculine energy in spirituality. And my editor, who doesn't know me, just knows this book, she's like, I don't know about this mind, body, spirit section. She's like, I just don't think that after all the stuff that I read in the book that somebody wants to hear that from you. I'm like, that's what's funny. I'm like, no, actually, everything in the book up to that point is out of character. This part that you're saying doesn't fit is the only part that is in character for what anyone expects to get from me. Oh, yay. Pumped for this book. Just got the dream book. And coincidentally, you've been having some very vivid dreams. Ooh. Oh, Meg, be the modality. Yes. Being a human being, not a human doing. Let's see. Small steps is key. There's 2,000 steps in a mile. Ooh, I love that. I love that. 2,000 steps in a mile. Okay, so let me pull a card because this is what I'm feeling for us today. Okay, so I'm going to pull this card for us. This is one of my favorite decks right now, called the Modern Nirvana Oracle. Modern Nirvana Oracle. And what is our message for us today here on the live and us watching later on replay? We'll see if something flips around. No, you guys are going to love the cover of the book. It is so good. And then, so I think I've talked about it a little bit, but, for 10 years, I worked on this book long before I was doing this spiritual work. You just pulled from that deck 20 minutes ago while doing some personal energy work. Oh, wow. What a synchronicity. What did we get? Oh, you guys. I mean, you can't make this up. Liberation. Liberation. I mean, you cannot make it up. Okay, let's read it. But this is where we're at. Liberation is the message for us. And then we'll finish on that. Okay. All right. So that you guys can both see it. Because it's a black card, it's reflecting, but okay. By liberation of the self through love, we develop love. Before we can achieve liberation, we must look at what is currently keeping us from our ultimate freedom. What layers of expectation are we confined to? If you had complete liberation right now, would that even be something that you would be willing to accept? We often seek comfort and familiarity in order to avoid the discomfort of change. This card is a gentle nudge to take a step into the unknown. Stay away from what feels comfortable and pivot from your usual choices so you can get closer to freedom. Remember that you, in fact, are already liberated, but it is the human conditioning that we use as our blueprint that hides how truly free we already are. Your mantra for today. It is my right to be liberated from that which limits my mind. I believe in my inherent freedom and leave all limitations behind. Oh, that's beautiful, Kylie. The cards are always on point. They really, I mean, the cards that come out during lives and during the Substack classes are always so beautiful and so needed. Is this not exactly everything that we talked about today? Her dream book, you got the dream book recently and are loving it. Yeah, let me see. I have it right here. Okay, so my Lunar Oracle dream book, you guys, I did a video on it. If you want to go back and look at one of my most recent lives in the last month or so. Oh, well, let me say this first. So this is a dream journal. The beginning has all different types of resources. What are dreams? How to remember your dreams better, how to discern prophetic dreams, what are the scientific things with dreams? What are the spiritual reasons of dreams? What are the archetypal psychological meanings behind dreams? Also, dreams around different cultures, some tips for lucid dreaming. And then there's like 150 pages or something of dream journal prompts. So then this helps you to remember your dreams. And it's also super cute. One of the best ways to start tracking your dreams is to have a little dream altar next to your bed. So that could include this cute little workbook with a cute pen that you like, and then it kind of provokes you to be more likely to do your dream journal. Wonder if you spoke about the Pope passing. No, I didn't, because who gives a damn? I don't give a damn. No, I'm tired of the clickbait shit. I really am, you guys. I know. I know. I posted the Apocalypse series and they said it was going to be the last pope. So I guess we'll see in a couple days if it's the last pope or not, right? And then they say all these videos, but guys, like none of that shit fucking matters. It really doesn't. Like we're creating the reality that we want to live in. And as much as I believe the Nostradamus prophecies were genuine, I don't believe that we are on that timeline anymore. I don't believe that we're living in the Nostradamus timeline. Like, we have already changed and shifted. Like, literally look at what's happening in the world right now. Like, yeah, there's a bunch of, like, negative shit if you're geared towards the negative to see that. But in other ways, it's like, look at what we're talking about right now. Look at like how many people are here to focus on bettering themselves, to focus on healing themselves, to focus on living in their purpose. Like with this many people living in their purpose, the world is not going to hell, right? You know, and things are going to change. Things are going to, does anybody give a shit, you know, about the Pope? The religion that caused so much suffering, good riddance. Yeah, I mean, but also, it was all lessons, you know? We already switched timelines. I believe so. We're already on a different timeline than what was getting prophesized in the 1500s when Nostradamus wrote those. And then we're on a different timeline than what was being called in 1986 when Dolores brought forward those Nostradamus communications. Yep. There we go. Thanks, Meg. A nudge to like the live. Yeah, I was only asking because the Notre Dame series. No, I loved that. But this is also too, you guys are gonna love next week. I have Mami Onami as a guest, and she talks about the 3 levels of spiritual teachings from the exoteric, mesoteric, and esoteric. And a lot of times, this has been I love that she brought it up in the live in the chat that's gonna come out next week because when we're at our earlier stages of spirituality, we need stories. This is why the Bible is a book of stories. This is why children's books are stories, because when you're at the earlier stages, you need stories. But we don't need those stories anymore. So a lot of the stuff that Nostradamus was bringing through, a lot of the channeled stuff, like all the channeled stuff, like I used to believe that there was like this galactic war for Earth and that reptilians took it. And then there's these light beings and all of this is just stories because we needed to learn that way because the truth is really confusing. The truth is paradoxal. The truth is divine dichotomy. The truth is half truths. The truth is both. There is no right, there is no wrong. So it's like we need those things to understand. Jen has jumped timelines since the Nostradamus series. Oh yeah. We're not on that timeline of when I made that Apocalypse series. For sure. But that Apocalypse series was an old timeline. We're totally different now. Do you think parts of Lemuria is in Hawaii? I don't know. I wouldn't be the best person to ask that. I'm not super well versed in the Lemurian stuff. Or Atlantis. I know a little bit about Atlantis. I have a old Lemurian book here, but I've never really looked into it. You care about the Pope because you believe they are secret keepers of ancient knowledge, but all the knowledge is coming out. With or without it being in the Vatican, all the knowledge is coming out. The knowledge is coming through us right now. The more that we step into alignment and the more that we heal, the more that we become the vessels for this knowledge. How is it coming out? It doesn't need to be given to us. It's coming through people living in their purpose. It's coming through people living in their art, people living in their truth, people healing, people releasing their trauma, people breaking generational cycles, people breaking the cycles of their ancestors. It is all, the truth is all coming out. These ancient wisdoms, we don't need. How did you think all those ancient people got it? It wasn't because someone gifted it to them in a book. It wasn't because someone had them hiding in a library under the Vatican and they got access to it. All of those ancient teachings came through the vessel of a person that became a clear channel, a person who cleared, like, also, if you listened to my podcast last week with Dana Kipple, who was talking about the plasma, she was talking about how this layer of plasma around us, which is like the aura, is clouded with our emotions, is clouded with these stories, is clouded with perception. So any knowledge that is coming from a higher source, it doesn't even need to be higher. The knowledge is everywhere. We have the quantum computer that we're living in. Every single quantum particle has all the information of everything that ever was and ever will be. The Akashic Records is the ether. Every single quantum particle around us, that makes you, all of the information is in it already. So we have access to it. But we need to get over our shit. We need to get over our perceptions of the world. We need to get over this negative gearing towards seeing things in through our lens of trauma, through our lens of perception. And the more that we become a clear channel, and then in a couple weeks, I'm going to have Chemo, the light seer, on, who I'm sure you guys know from TikTok. And he talked about becoming a clear channel. So, like, it's really interesting if you listen to all the podcasts, how they're all connected to each other. Each person that I'm interviewing is talking about the same things in a different way. And it's been really beautiful. The Law of Correspondence, it's all right here. A book called A New Science of Heaven. Oh, I haven't heard of it. Memory access is gained through trauma healing, your individual memories, generational memories, and collective memories, cosmic memories. We just need to heal to remember, right? Where do we see the list of all your books and workbooks that you have written you want to buy? Oh, thank you. Um, I have them in the description below of the YouTube. Yeah. The description of the YouTube has my moon book, my tarot workbook, and my dream workbook. And if you're watching on TikTok, if you click on the link in my bio, it's all linked there. Is the flow state of mind and meditation and channeling all connected? Yeah, it's really all, everything is different words for the same thing, right? The quantum field, ether, Akash, plasma, all of this shit are different words for the same thing. So it's the same thing with flow state, meditation, channeling, all of these things are the same thing. We're always saying the same thing with different words. I mean, religion and spirituality are saying the same thing. Science and religion and spirituality are all saying the same thing, right? In different words for different people at different levels of understanding, even within spirituality, even within religion. Did you say you're going to have Chemo? Yes. So Chemo is going to be on the podcast in about 2 or 3 weeks. I already recorded the episode, but I'm going to be in Bali. So I'm getting a couple of episodes ahead. But oh my God, the episode with him, oh my God, the light seer, he's an angel. I love him. Oh my God, it was the best ever. No, he was so great. So make sure you're subscribed on YouTube because that's where the podcast is. I will be, I promise, getting it on Spotify, Apple, and whatever the tunes and all this shit is. I have to do that. Dana Kipple is your plasma guru. She was great. The lesson of the Tower of Babel, all the same, just different languages. How's Vin? He's doing great. Things are great. As I told you guys, I'm gonna be getting married in um 2 months now. Yeah, I know. Crazy, right? For some of you guys who didn't stay to the live, the last congrats. Thank you. JK, what do you think about scanning the stuff that's below the Giza plateau? Oh, wait, what? Beautiful, congratulations, congratulations. Oh, thank you guys. Yeah, I feel great. He's amazing. I feel blessed to have him. Oh, thank you guys. Lots of congratulations. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I feel good. I feel great in this relationship. He's amazing. I feel so blessed. I feel so lucky. I really, one thing like I don't like the concept that love is a reward for healing because people deserve love, whether they've healed or not. Um, so, I would not, even though all the healing I've done now have finally found the love that is right for me, I would still not say that healing is a reward for it. I really do think it's divine timing. And I think for us to both be on the wavelength to recognize each other required us both to do healing. But I don't like this idea of like a lot of times in spirituality where it kind of says like you need to heal and do this and do this, and once you clear everything then your soulmate appears or then you're worthy of love, because you're worthy of love no matter how fucked up, horrible, rock bottom you are. You're already, so you're already there. You already are worthy of love right now. However, the version of your soulmate that you want might still be healing, and you might still be healing for you guys to have the most successful version of your relationship. So I think that's the spin on it, where you meet people on your same wavelength. So you want to get to a wavelength where you can really love and you can also receive love. Yeah, you met your love at your lowest, 21 years later, you're still together. Yeah, like, that's what I mean. I really hate this concept in spirituality that, like, you need to heal everything and be perfect before loving, and it's such bullshit. That's not the truth. Now, I had to heal a lot, for me, it worked that way, but part of the reason was self-love, and I really think it was divine timing because I was supposed to meet in the Bermuda Triangle like we did. No pressure for an answer, but do you want children? No, I don't. I don't want children. Um, Thanks for dispelling the bullshit. Mhm. That's also the message of the Bible and Jesus. Oh, what? That you're worthy of love already? We're all black and then now gonna start wearing white to the wedding, yes. Oh, thank you. Did I miss the announcement? When you know, you know. Yeah, so it was, I said it a couple weeks ago on the live, but it was at the end. How fitting, the Bermuda Triangle, right? For us to meet at the Bermuda Triangle. Watch the episode of Ascension Keepers on Gaia about Saint Francis and Claire. I don't have Gaia anymore. Um, you're both on the harmonic energy, yeah. And I agree that. You met in the Bermuda Triangle, yeah. So we met on the cruise that I was speaking on. Is Gaia good? Um, Gaia was nice for me before, and I did like watching it. Now, um, I don't have it anymore because I don't really watch it anymore. But I do think it is like when you're really craving some knowledge or you need like your rabbit hole fix, it is a good place to go. That's different than YouTube. And it's kind of like a higher quality version of YouTube. But I do want to warn you, there's a lot of frauds and grifters on there too. So there's a ton of stuff that is just complete lies and make believe. So, use your discernment. If you see something on there and it resonates with you, take it. If you see something on there and it doesn't, leave it, because I don't think they really have a vetting process. But I do think it is a good thing when you kind of like the 20 and back. Yeah. The whole 20 and back story altogether, I don't believe. I never resonated with it. But I thought that they had a better vetting process. So I thought maybe they vetted these people, but yeah, you think you're already this, spiritually ascended before beyond all the stuff online. There's so much fake and false info out there. Yeah, but, that's the thing too. You know, we do need stories a lot of times to understand concepts, and that's kind of like I was talking about with my friend yesterday because she was re-listening to Bringers of the Dawn. And Bringers of the Dawn is beautiful. I love Bringers of the Dawn. I still love to revisit it. I think it's one of my all-time favorite books. But there's stories in there that I don't fully resonate with. But in that book, they say, remember, these are just stories. And now I get it. Like before, I was kind of like, what do you mean these are just stories? I want the truth. I want the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. But now I realize we need those stories in order to understand because the full truth is crazy and makes no sense sometimes, right? The full truth is two half truths that oppose each other and are contradictory and don't make sense, right? But you have to get more to a place of neutrality. You have to heal more stuff. You have to release more stuff from yourself to be able to see a more neutral truth without judgment, without it going through your filter. So back to the person who was talking about the flow state earlier, flow state meditation channeling, that is going through the person's filter. So it will only be able to be perceived as the way that person can perceive it. It is not, and I mean, you guys, I got the greatest lesson ever of truth, that spiritual truth. That spirit is saying what you need to hear, not what you really not the truth. The ayahuasca told me I'm a lesbian and I'm freaking marrying a man in 2 months. Like, I learned a good lesson about spirit tells you what you need to hear. Spirit doesn't tell you the truth because the real truth doesn't make fucking sense. Great Tuesday Night Live. Thanks for sharing and holding space as always. Oh, thanks, Ash. Well, thank you so much, guys. Thanks for joining in for this Tuesday Night Live. See you guys on Thursday to we're going to talk to John Jacob Mubarak, who is just a lovely, 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 sweet soul. He's great. He has such a beautiful approach to being authentic. You said you were going to marry a man last year and now you're a lesbian. Wow. We switched sides. You love John. Yeah, he's great. You love stories to help your comprehension and thinking through things from different angles. Yeah. What a great live. Thank you. I'm so happy you made it. Me too, Neil. I'm glad you're here. You always add such great stuff to the conversation. So everybody, thank you. If you are a Substack subscriber, I'm sending out that email tonight. So go subscribe now so then you can get the email. You said, why would spirit need you to hear that you're a lesbian if you're not? I've talked about this many times, but just to answer the question for anybody who's not heard the answer already, because I was not able to see who my partner could be. And I was actually like closing off timelines. So like I didn't know who this person could be. Who could my partner be? That I was like actually closing timelines from possibility, right? So like they were not possible because I couldn't fathom them. I couldn't see them. So I was like blocking my own blessings because I didn't know and I wasn't fully surrendering to the experience either. So when you fully surrender, you allow those possibilities. I was trying to understand who is this person? How could this person be? Who is this man? Where would I meet him? What is all of these things? So then Mother Aya was like, listen, there is no man. Forget about it. Let it go. So then it like liberation, it did the liberation to me because then I was like, oh, well, I guess I don't know. I fully surrender to the whole situation. And whoever the person is, then okay, fine. Then I surrender to it. And it's whatever it is, whoever it is, I accept it then because it's not anything that I could have thought of anyway. And then that opening of that allowed for this person to come into my life. So if there's something, yeah, like when you stop caring so much, it comes. What deck is that? It is the Modern Nirvana Oracle deck. Just subscribe to the Substack. Your voice is so valuable. Thank you. Mother Io was like, "You know what? Shh." And he was just out there journaling. I know. What a sweet, sweet man. Good question. Yeah, this Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you. And anyone who watched on TikTok who wants to see the full live, it's on YouTube. All the lives are always on YouTube. So if you are a TikTok watcher and you're bored and you have nothing to do, go over to JK Ultra on YouTube and start watching all the old lives because, they're always great. They're always a good time. So I'll see you guys next Tuesday. And see you guys also on Thursday, where we'll have the new okay, last question. Can you make us a good list, bad list of grifters? No. You know why? Because I asked the Akashic Records, what about the frauds? What about the fakers? What about the people who are unethical in the spiritual community? What about the people who are giving information that is manipulative or harmful? And you know what the Akashic Record said? Everybody has their journey. And those liars, grifters, fakes, people who even are being honest with themselves, but giving false information because they're actually not skilled in what they're doing. And they're immediately going to offering this service before they've really learned how to understand and discern their own gifts. That is part of it. We need these grifters as well because you know what? Spirituality is inside of us, and the more that we seek all the answers outside, it's great to have inspiration outside. It's great to have messengers. It's great to read books. It's great to listen to content that is aligned with you and that resonates with you. But if we're always seeking these answers, especially getting readings and this and that from people outside of ourselves, that is part of the lesson. So it is a beautiful lesson to learn. So sometimes people got to get scammed. Sometimes people got to get lied to. Sometimes, you know, whatever. Sometimes you need to hear you're a lesbian when you're not. That's the way of learning and trusting and to not give more power to what spirit has told us than what we truly know within ourselves. Because sometimes people get messages from psychics, and the lesson for them is not the message. The lesson for them is to listen to themselves and to know their own discernment. There's everything. There's no one way for everything. And there's so many variations of it. So, yep, know thyself. Beautiful. There's a woman that you can feel in your bones is not good. Her initials are TS. Do you mean Teal Swan? You know, I actually used to not like Teal Swan. And then now I do like Teal Swan because you know what? I was like, she is speaking to the shadow in people. And a lot of people are afraid of looking at their shadow still. And the more brave that you get to truly step into the shadow, the more that her information can actually resonate. But it's not for everybody. The people who want the love and light, hell fucking no, they're gonna run away from someone like Teal Swan because she's speaking to the dark. And not like in an evil way, but in the part that is inside everybody. So it's kind of like take it or leave it with teachers, but don't put anyone on a pedestal, you know? She's not a god, but she is a great voice for people who are experiencing depression or things like that, or people who are really deep in their shadow work, or people who are ready to confront things. But it's also not someone, all the teachers are only there for so long on your journey. Like some teachers, it's like great for an introduction, but as you grow, You're not going to stay in first grade. You're not going to stay in fifth grade. You're not going to be in middle school forever. You're not going to be in high school forever. You're not going to be in college forever. So it's okay to outgrow your teachers. And it is very rare for teachers to grow with their students. Most people continue to say the same stuff and the same message and the same things. And, there'll be people who outgrow me or people who I grow in a different direction than what they resonate with anymore. And, I do strive to continue evolving for myself, but then I also want to evolve, you know, for the people that are along on this journey with me, because we're all growing. And so the more that my perception expands, kind of like the Pope thing, I did the whole Antichrist series. I have a whole video on the last Pope. There's like a freaking million views on that video about the last Pope that I did like in 2022. But that for me is like, it's so far from who I am, and I don't give a fuck. I know how many views it would get. If I did a video about the Antichrist or the Pope, you think I don't know that my freaking phone would explode with notifications? My phone would rupture. The battery would blast out of the phone if I did an Antichrist Pope video right now. But at the end of the day, it's like, I've evolved past that, and I don't give a shit about the views, right? There's 60 people here now. There's like 80 people on TikTok right now. The message is for the people that the message is for. So that's why I like you, because you're still evolving in front of our eyes. Thank you. Oh my God, if I did that Antichrist video, seriously, if I wanted to really make some money and be a grifter, oh, I will say it. I'll say it. I'll say, who's the Antichrist? I'll tell you who the Antichrist is. And the Pope. It's the last Pope. It's Armageddon right now. The end of times is here. And my TikTok will go viral as all hell. What about when you said you knew who he was? I still do believe it's that person. But I don't think that the Antichrist is exactly what I thought the Antichrist was when I made those videos. The same way that like Christ is a thing, right? Christ, there's multiple Christs. There was Jesus Christ, like Buddha was a Christ. There's Christs. There is something that opposes that. There is something that embodies the opposite of what a Christ embodies, the Antichrist. It is the opposite of unity. It is the opposite of Christ consciousness. It is the opposite of oneness. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of fucking Antichrist energy on earth. But I still do believe the person that I believed is a person who is a hand with a chess piece in it. And ever since the whole Israel-Palestine stuff got kicked up again, it's all in the Nostradamus books. They talked about all that. Like, that is all in those prophecies and stuff. But I don't believe that it's the outcome that was prophesized. It is the outcome is we're already shifting it. It is in our hands. Jen, you looked marvelous in that video with the white shirt and the green shorts and heels. Why, thank you. Why, thank you. So I'll leave it on that. I'll leave it on that. I'll leave it on my compliment. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. See you guys soon. Subscribe to the YouTube so you can watch the podcast. Subscribe to the Substack and become a paid member if you want to go to the class this Sunday. It's $11 a month. It's a great investment in you and in me. So thanks. And see you guys next time. Bye.